Today on Investigate TV Plus, a mother's fear and frustration exposes a critical gap in care.
Put her somewhere, get her some help. You know, you're the state, for God's sakes.
A disturbing number of children in state custody run away and many disappear for weeks, or they're never found at all.
Those are our most vulnerable kids. They needed protection.
We investigate the lack of resources contributing to this crisis and how advocates are working to better protect these kids. Plus, stunning video of an infrastructure failure. We take a look at why steel guardrails crumpled under the force of this crash and explore the possible solution to keep you safe on the road.
And words of wisdom and motivation.
If I sit and start to watch TV, I feel like that's a waste of time. I could be doing something to make the world a better place.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Across the country, tens of thousands of kids supposedly in state care run away every year. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Children are usually placed under the care of the state because of a difficult situation at home or a mental health crisis. But we found those tasked with ensuring their well-being often fall short. A federal audit conducted in 2023 estimated close to 35,000 cases were never reported to the federal government as required by law. In the same year, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says they were aware of more than 22,000 cases of children who were missing from a state's care. The experts we spoke to say kids who run away frequently become victims of sex trafficking or they're never found.
Investigative reporter Lauren Traeger takes an in-depth look at this crisis in St. Louis through the eyes of a concerned mom who believes the system is not just failing, but it's putting her daughter's life in danger. And we've chosen to change her daughter's name to protect her identity.
A teenager now, but to a mother, they are a baby always. The smiles and silliness of childhood, sidewalk chalk, fishing on a chilly day.
My daughter is amazing. She loves to draw, loves to sing. I want to be a fashion designer.
But at 13, Jane started to change.
Not being able to focus, not going to school, running away, doing drugs.
Diagnosed with multiple severe mental health disorders, when not on proper medication, Jane, her mom Kiara says, could hurt, steal, and disappear for days at a time.
In 2 years, my daughter has had upwards of maybe 14 hospital stays because she'll go for 10 days and get stable.
But Kiara says inpatient facilities told her beds were reserved for kids already in state custody.
She needs residential help. We're not equipped.
So she made the difficult decision earlier this year to place her now 16-year-old daughter in the protective custody of the state.
And that was a sword I was willing to throw myself on if that meant that now she's in custody, that she would be placed in a facility that could help her. But that didn't happen.
Instead, Kiara says the state agency, Children's Division, whose sole job it is to protect kids, isn't protecting Jane.
Since she's been in the custody of the state, how many times has she run away?
5. Well, if you say you're going to protect them, then protect them.
The problem, she says, is that Children's Division won't or can't find a proper secure placement for her. Last month, state workers took Jane back to a non-secure shelter from which she'd previously run away. She took off again, this time gone for nearly 2 weeks. Caseworkers didn't even seem to be searching, Kiara says, so she hunted Jane down instead.
When I seen her, she had on a little bitty skirt, with fishnet stockings and a crop top. So I knew what they had been doing with my daughter for 12 days. And she looked so out of it. You know, she hasn't had any meds. She's been living in a vacant house. But I got her.
But Children's Division again did not take her to an inpatient facility. Instead, our cameras caught the moment Kiara dropped off clothes and hugged her daughter outside state offices in North County, right before a state caseworker took Jane to a hotel. And again, she ran away.
Do you think this is a big problem?
It's absolutely a problem. I mean, we're seeing it every day. Sadly, it's not a surprise in the work that we do.
Amy Robbins with the Children's Advocacy Center of Greater St. Louis says the numbers of children that run away from state custody are concerning.
Absolutely. Those are our most vulnerable kids. They needed protection, which led to them being in state custody to begin with.
We pulled the most recent data. The Children's Division says in the month of May 2024, 90 children were in runaway status, 37 of them, or 41%, from the St. Louis region. Those numbers ticking up since the start of the year. But Robin says recent research proves the data isn't even reliable.
There aren't good measures. There's not a good way to track this consistently across the state of Missouri.
But the potential harm that could come to those children on the run, she says, is real. 1 in 6 runaways becomes a victim of sex trafficking.
Our perpetrators are seeking them out, and absolutely they are identifying those who would make a good victim for them. And unfortunately, these kids are very high risk for that.
Now she's victimized all over again. That's a crime in itself.
State Senator Carla May says she knows Jane, but she didn't know the full extent of the problem until we told her the numbers.
She's in jeopardy. Who's going to be responsible if this young lady is trafficked, killed, raped? What? Who takes that responsibility? She's in the care of the state.
The situation bringing her to tears.
It's heartbreaking. But we got to be responsible.
We wanted to talk to the Department of Social Services over the Children's Division, but they declined our request for an interview. They also said they couldn't talk about Jane specifically, but in a statement said the department, quote, employs multiple strategies to locate missing children and prevent known runaways from absconding again. They confirmed they have hired 4 new investigators for the St. Louis region, tasked with focusing on preventative measures, locating missing children swiftly, and working closely with law enforcement and community resources to ensure the safety and well-being of these children. Still, in their statement, they don't deny there is a problem, writing, there is acknowledgement of an ongoing crisis with runaways in the St. Louis region. Children's Division is actively seeking solutions to mitigate this issue.
It is their responsibility, and we have to figure it out. Why do we have this hole? How long has this hole existed?
Senator May wants answers, as experts say the department battles staffing shortages and a lack of residential placements for teens with mental health issues.
And I'm going to keep digging until I find the answer, because we can't have this happen to anybody.
Do you think the system failed your daughter?
Absolutely. My daughter will tell you herself, they don't care. They don't care.
Should children be running away from Child Protective Services? Should that be happening?
No. Do you know that she has a history of running away and eloping in your custody a multitude of times? What precaution, don't you think you need to change up how you do things?
Kiera says her daughter was again found on the streets of St. Louis, this time with another young girl.
She's not going to take the meds, and she's just going to go off and let her untreated illness take her down whatever path.
In text messages, her daughter telling her she's now in somebody's house, a foster parent's. Mama, I love you, she writes.
Just keep her safe. Put her somewhere, get her some help. You know, you're the state, for God's sakes.
Experts in this area are concerned about the number of children in general that go missing from the state of Missouri, but they do note that there can be a disproportionate number of children of color that go missing. As for Jane, her mother says she has run away several more times from state care since our interview. Most recently, she was located in a hospital in Chicago. Her mother now hopeful she will get help, but is worried she will run away again. In St. Louis, I'm Lauren Traeger.
Still to come, you won't find any booze in this bar, but patrons can still get a buzz. We explore the recent rise in cannabis consumption lounges and how leaders in Sin City worked with owners and regulators to make them less sinful.
But first, a weakness exposed. A steel guardrail explodes from the force of a serious crash. Our investigation uncovers an infrastructure failure as more electric vehicles hit the road and the efforts to make your drive safer.
You might see them every day on your drive. Steel guardrails lining the side of the road are meant to protect drivers from danger and reduce serious injuries in the event of a crash. But our investigation found those steel barriers are no match for a speeding electric vehicle.
That's because EVs are typically heavier than gas-powered vehicles thanks to batteries that weigh the same as a small gas-powered car. EVs also have a lower center of gravity, making it more difficult for them to roll over.
Reporter Stacey Cameron takes an in-depth look at this roadside danger and the efforts to rethink highway guardrail design.
Whether it's in slow motion or at full speed, for Tesla owner Ryan Bartholomew,
ooh, is that going through the car right now?
This crash test video is impossible to look away from. Conducted by the Texas A&M Transportation Institute, it shows a Tesla Model 3 tearing through a Thri-beam guardrail at 62 miles per hour.
It's a little interesting considering it's supposed to be one of the safest vehicles out there.
And if the failed crash test looks familiar, that's because in January, this video from the University of Nebraska exposed for the first time fear that our nation's guardrails may be no match for electric vehicles. But after that crash test,
we have a problem.
Safety advocate Steve Eimer says there was still hope because the guardrail taking on a Tesla this time was a stronger system.
I was far more concerned with this crash test.
But with Texas A&M's crash video showing a Tesla penetrating a second safety barrier, Eimer says it's time to seriously question if today's guardrail technology needs tweaking to better protect EV owners and their passengers.
We're running out of tools in our belt.
EVs, like Tesla's Model 3, have a lower center of gravity compared to conventional cars, making EVs safer in some ways, and it's one reason Bartholomew bought his Tesla a year ago.
Especially with 2 children I have.
But Eimer says that low center of gravity is likely why guardrails failed in both crash tests.
It's not time to panic, but it is time for a real concern here.
And with EVs only getting more popular in Tennessee and across the country, Eimer says it's now time for the government, EV manufacturers, and guardrail engineers to work together and find a way to fix this roadside danger.
We need everybody pulling together. If you put 2 cats on a chain and let them go in opposite directions, you're not going to solve anything.
I did reach out to Tesla for comment on the crash test, but so far I haven't gotten a reply. But as Eimer points out, Tesla hasn't done anything wrong. This is an issue for almost all EVs and its guardrail technology needing to evolve. In Nashville, I'm Stacey Cameron.
Since our investigation, the chair of the National Transportation Safety Board commented about electric vehicles and guardrail crash tests. In a statement posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, Jennifer Homendy wrote, "As the country moves forward toward EV adoption, NTSB's mission to ensure safety isn't left behind." Our in-depth coverage on guardrail safety continues on InvestigateTV.com. Just type guardrails in the search bar.
Her compassion inspires her friends to be better.
I always think to myself, what would Becky do before I do anything?
Still to come, a college professor gives us a lesson on how to make the world a better place.
But first, a new buzz in the entertainment capital of the world. We examine how Las Vegas has gone all in on a budding bar trend.
A glass of wine, cocktail, or a beer is often the choice for those hanging out with friends or winding down after a long day at work.
And while more and more younger Americans are taking a hard pass on alcohol, they're not entirely sober. A 2022 survey by cannabis research firm New Frontier Data found 69% of people aged 18 to 24 prefer marijuana to alcohol. And a 2024 study by Carnegie Mellon University found marijuana is used daily by more Americans than alcohol.
As more of these Gen Zers trade booze for buds, Las Vegas is looking to cash in on the trend. Reporter Jacqueline Schultz takes us in depth to look at how Vegas is going all in on cannabis.
Play a little bit of blackjack probably on the tables.
Winner! In a city known for high rollers and high-limit slots,
I've been sneaking around my whole life.
there's a new high for tourists and locals alike.
It's a great feeling. It should be everywhere.
70-year-old tourist Nancy Eagle was among the first to take a hit at Las Vegas's first legal cannabis consumption lounge, Smoke and Mirrors. While traditional bars offer guests the opportunity to sip alcoholic cocktails, cannabis consumption lounges serve THC-laced products to smoke as well as drink.
When you order your drink, each one of the drinks comes with a little tab right here, 2.5 milligrams, 5 milligrams, or 10 milligrams as an option.
It took almost 3 years after Nevada state lawmakers approved on-site consumption for Las Vegas's first cannabis lounge to open.
Some may think anything goes in a city that boasts what happens here stays here, but that is far from the case when it comes to Sin City's budding cannabis industry. In fact, lounges had several regulatory hurdles they had to go through from the Nevada Cannabis Compliance Board before they could even welcome any customers.
Those requirements include special ventilation to minimize secondhand smoke, DUI prevention plans, training for employees to spot overconsumption, and 24-hour no-tow policies to prevent customers from driving under the influence.
Don't get behind the wheel after you have smoked marijuana at one of these lounges.
Las Vegas Metro Police are still concerned some careless customers may slip through the cracks and get behind the wheel when they're still high, leading to potentially deadly consequences. Metro's training its officers to learn how different types of highs affect driving. During a traffic stop, if there's no smell of alcohol, officers may ask questions and look for possible signs of cannabis use, like dilated pupils.
They're either slow on the time or fast on the time. It all depends on the type of marijuana, the strength of marijuana, and how often they consume marijuana.
And Metro Police's education and enforcement efforts appear to be working. As of June 2024, DUI-related deaths are down compared to the same time in 2023, and DUI-related arrests are also down.
A lot of people come to Nevada because we are kind of the gold standard in cannabis throughout the nation.
Nevada's Cannabis Program Supervisor Jason Benales says the program is the gold standard because it's attracted global attention. Guam's Cannabis Control Board got a first-hand look at Smoke and Mirrors during a May 2024 health inspection.
We wanted to show our partners from Guam what to look for, how to set up their inspection.
To see them in action and learn from them, so back home we can get a general idea of what we can expect as we get the industry up and running.
Cannabis advocate and Clark County, Nevada Chair Tick Seegerbloom hopes stringent measures can prove the lounge model successful for further expansion.
Now we have a place where we can tell tourists, come to Las Vegas, you can buy it, you can use it, you can have a great time. It's part of their experience.
While there are hopes to bring cannabis consumption lounges to the Las Vegas Strip, you're not allowed to smoke weed in any of the Strip's hotels or casinos.
That's because cannabis consumption still isn't completely legal at the state and federal level, and casinos risk losing their gaming license if they were to openly allow patrons to smoke or consume marijuana on their properties.
Up next, from good deeds,
I donated a kidney to my friend's brother,
to community needs.
And it's rewarding to talk to the people and hear their stories.
A college professor inspires others to commit acts of kindness.
Becky Dery is what some people call a doer.
From volunteering at an animal shelter to helping the homeless, this college professor inspires friends with her simple acts of kindness and willingness to help anyone in need.
Reporter Ashley Hendricks shows us how Becky will inspire you to do good, too.
This group of friends in Richmond didn't hit the lottery, but certainly got lucky when they met Becky Dery.
Becky's one of those friends where if there's a way she can help you, she will jump right in.
I always think to myself, what would Becky do before I do anything?
Everyone plays their part in making this 20-year friendship flourish.
So we're really lucky to have each other.
But Jennifer Barato says what Becky does on top of working as a professor at VCU and Bright Point Community College is what sets her apart.
I think that she's living the life and in a way that we all really, if we were living that way, it would be a better place.
Along with being a mother of 2 college students and caring for her elderly father, she volunteers a lot of her time. She's a familiar face here at Richmond Animal Care and Control.
This is Cleveland.
Helping with dishes and laundry and occasionally bringing home a furry friend.
I know there's such a need for fostering kittens, and you get them when they're at their cutest.
Then there's the Love and Kindness Crew, a nonprofit that serves the homeless.
And it's rewarding to talk to the people and hear their stories and see their faces and laugh with them, and you know, they're people. They're people just going through a tough time.
Whether it be a friend or a complete stranger, Becky will literally give anything to help others, even her kidney.
Yes, I donated a kidney to my friend's brother. She sent out a Facebook message saying that her brother was going to die without a kidney, and I just recognize how blessed I am.
She balances work, family, community service, and even writing books, all with gratitude and a smile. Her secret?
If I sit and start to watch TV, I feel like that's a waste of time. I could be doing something to make the world a better place. And so I do.
With no time to waste, she's determined to make every minute count.
Becky is just incredible.
Yes.
And as they revealed like each thing in the story, it gets to the kidney and she just goes, oh my goodness, like just incredible, right?
Yes, she's just such a wonderful person, just giving so much, literally giving of herself to people.
She deserved that story and that recognition.
She did,
yes.
she did. Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, trading retirement for new responsibility.
My plan was I was going to go on a cruise for myself.
More seniors are caring for their grandchildren when their parents cannot.
We go in depth to uncover the struggles they face to find housing and the solutions to support each generation.